We're going to talk today about the benefits of Miessence DeepGreen and why we need greens in our lives. So this is just a general overview of why we need deep greens. Health advocates tell us that to optimize our health, immunity, and energy levels, the ideal balance of food intake is 80% alkaline forming and 20% acid forming. So the alkaline forming foods are those that you see on the left. What color are they, by and large? They're all the greens, everything green, vegetables mainly, vegetables and leafy greens. And the acid forming foods are those on the right. So we're supposed to be eating 80% from the left and 20% on the right, but most of us have it the other way around. And this can lead to a number of health issues. Also, acid forming are these issues: stress, environmental pollutants, drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, alcohol, coffee, caffeine, tobacco, and a number of other things, including carbonated beverages and any kind of processed food. So we are really, our lifestyle and our dietary and health choices are really heavily leaned to the acid forming side of the spectrum as opposed to the alkaline forming side of the spectrum. So interestingly, osteoporosis, medical studies have actually shown that populations with high levels of protein consumption have high levels of osteoporosis. And that also includes high levels of milk, animal dairy have been correlated with high levels of osteoporosis, which actually goes against what we're being told by the pharmaceutical medical complex. So lack of calcium actually is not the problem. Lack of calcium is not the cause of osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is an acidification disease. Calcium is leached or donated out of the bones by high levels of metabolic acids. So just to go over how we become or why we become acidic is that we're eating too many acid forming foods. We're actually eating too much animal protein. Our requirements are, depending on our body weight and activity level, between 40 and 80 grams of protein a day, and most of the developed world is ingesting over 200 grams of protein. And when protein metabolizes, when our body metabolizes protein or animal protein, it produces very strong acids, sulfuric, phosphoric, and nitric acids, which are then have to be excreted by our kidneys. So the body, in its incredible wisdom, so as not to burn the kidneys from those acids going through it, so as not to burn the kidneys on the way out, the body donates alkaline minerals, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, to neutralize these acids and protect the kidneys. So guess where our biggest storehouse of alkaline minerals in our body is? Calcium, our bones. So the biggest storehouse of calcium in our body, which is an alkaline mineral that the body needs to neutralize these toxic metabolic acids from eating too much acid forming foods. So the body actually leaches or donates the alkaline minerals from our bones to neutralize these toxic metabolic acids, to keep the body in homeostasis, to keep So we're not swinging wildly, you know, because if basically just even the blood has to be a pH of 7.35. Okay, so if the pH of the blood moves just 0.1 of a pH, either up or down, we're basically dead. Okay, the body, our blood cannot change pH. It has to be at 7.35. So the body is constantly assessing the levels of alkaline minerals and acidic content in the body on a 24/7 to keep the body in homeostasis, certainly to keep the blood in homeostasis. So if we are producing and creating lots of metabolic acids and an acidic condition by being stressed, by ingesting toxins, by eating from the acid forming chart instead of the alkaline forming chart of foods, we are creating metabolic acids that the body has to get rid of. And so it's actually, it's not the fact that we become acidic, because the pH of the body, of the body's fluids, stays the same all the time. So we don't become acidic. We become acidic in a relative sense because we lose that buffer of alkaline mineral store in our body. Okay, so to balance out, so if we're producing, just think about it, if we're producing an acidic system, our body has to keep it in balance by donating or leaching the alkaline minerals in our bones, basically. So osteoporosis is not a calcium deficiency, it is an acidification disease. So old age is, actually, let me just read from, I just want to read a quote from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. And this is a quote about osteoporosis. So this is the quote: "The dark green foods are amongst the most concentrated source of nutrition of any food on the planet. Today, with our diets high in salt, meat, and processed food," so all those things on the right-hand side, the things that cause acidic conditions, we absolutely need the alkaline minerals found in the leafy greens, found in the greens. Okay, these minerals act as a buffer to neutralize excess acid. If not present in sufficient quantities, the body steals these much needed mineral buffers from our bones, and such deficiencies are thought to be a leading cause of osteoporosis. And this was in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 18 years ago. Okay, is this something that we, like, does our doctor know this? You know, who tells us this? So when we go to the doctor and say, oh, and they tell us we've got, you know, osteoporosis, what do? They give us calcium, right? So let's just talk about calcium. Basically, calcium carbonate, which is the most synthetic nutritional supplements, or calcium supplements, are calcium carbonate, which is basically ground up rock. Okay, so our body doesn't need calcium. Our body needs to be producing less acid. Okay, it's not a calcium deficiency, and in fact, calcium is a ground up rock. What do you think our body can do with ground up rocks? Absolutely nothing. Humans don't digest rocks, plants digest rocks. Okay, plants extract the alkaline minerals out of rocks using fulvic acids. Okay, so this is another link in the chain. So humans can't digest rocks or do anything with rocks, only plants can. And we need the minerals the alkaline minerals that our plants, those green leafy vegetables and the plants actually extract from the soil and the rocks. That's where we get our alkaline minerals, not from ground up shells or ground up rocks. Okay, we can't do anything with that. So, and in fact, taking calcium supplements leads to calcification. Okay, so think about this. We are creating an acidic environment by eating acid-forming foods and living an acidic-forming lifestyle from stress and pollution and smoking and blah, 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 all the stuff that we talked about, all those things that we know about. And our body, to counteract, to neutralize those acidic metabolic acids, leaches or steals or donates, whatever you want to call it, calcium from our bones. So what is now floating around our body? Excess calcium. Okay, so we definitely don't need more calcium. So excess calcium, what is calcification? Calcification is hardening. Okay, excess calcium either has to be excreted by the kidneys, which is where you get kidney stones and kidney damage and hardening. So anything to do with calcification is actually hardening. Okay, so this excess calcium that has been leached or stolen or donated from the bones to neutralize those toxic acids now has to be excreted by the body, by the kidney, out of our urine or our feces, which is the only way we can get rid of stuff, right? Or it gets deposited somewhere else in the body. Okay, so if it gets deposited in the kidneys, what do we get? We get kidney stones. If it gets deposited in our brain, we get hardening of our brain. We get brain fog, and then down the track, we get dementia and Alzheimer's. So is this making sense? If that excess calcium gets deposited in our joints, you can see this bottom right figure of the hands with all that white calcium. What's that? We get stiffness, we get achy, and then down the track, we get arthritis, which is also called tumoral calcinosis. All right, check that out. Tumoral calcinosis, which is basically calcified tumors, which is arthritis, okay? Too much calcium. We don't need calcium. We need alkaline minerals. And in the arteries, in the lining, if calcium, if that excess calcium is being deposited into the lining of the arteries, what do we get? Hardening, calcification of the arteries, or atherosclerosis. Sclerosis just means hardening. Okay, so is this making sense? Arteries, sclerosis, hardening. So we have plenty of calcium because we're creating an acidic metabolic condition in our body from our lifestyles and our diet. What we need is to reduce our intake of acid-forming foods and majorly increase our intake of alkaline-forming foods, which have all the alkaline minerals in a form that our body can assimilate and do something with, not in a rock, stone, shell form, okay? I hope this is making sense. So, what are the most alkaline forming foods on the planet? They are the greens, okay? The blue-green algae, so in deep green, we've got the blue-green algae, the microalgae, the certified organic spirulina, the cracked cell wall chlorella, and the Aphanizomenone flossaqua, which is the AFA, or which is a blue-green algae. So these are extremely high in chlorophyll. Okay, I'm going to talk about chlorophyll in a moment. And then we have the green grass juices, certified organic, cold temperature, freeze-dried barley and wheatgrass juice. And we're going to talk about the importance of the fact that they are juices and not the actual just ground up grass. And the leafy greens, the certified organic horsetail and nettle, which is great for your hair, skin, bones, nails, and for the regeneration of the kidneys, which seem to be copping the brunt of our acid-forming lifestyle. So the grass juices are used in advanced healing clinics all over the world, and studies have shown that grass juices are beneficial anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, regenerative, and cellular health therapies. If anyone has ever heard of Dr. Bernard Jensen, I think he was the founder of Hippocrates. Bernard Jensen, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's a researcher and author of over 20 natural health books. And just quoting him, wheatgrass juice is one of the finest blood builders and body rejuvenators I know. And let me quote from Dr. Yoshihide Hagiwara, who is an associate professor at the Department of Environmental Toxicology at UC Davis. The leaves of the cereal grasses, that's the wheatgrass and barley grass, provide the nearest thing this planet offers to the perfect food. Okay, so they come pretty highly recommended. The microalgae, let's talk about the algae. Algae contain more cleansing and healing chlorophyll than any other source. Spirulina has the blue pigment, phycocyanin, which is anti-inflammatory. And spirulina is very effective in treating certain allergies, anemia, cancer, hepatotoxicity, which is liver toxicity, viral and cardiovascular diseases, hyperglycemia, hyperlipidemia, which is fat in the cholesterol in the blood, immunodeficiency, and inflammatory processes. So the microalgae are pretty damn good. And this is a quote from MD Mitchell Gaynor, who was a researcher and director of medical oncology at the Strang Cancer Prevention Center. His quote is, "Algae are packed with a rich broth of nutrients. It could well be that they are the healthiest foods." Okay, so Deep Green's got a pretty good array of the best foods on the planet. And of course, the leafy greens, leafy green, horsetail, certified organic, of course, and nettle, which are great for the hair, for the skin, for the bones, for the nails, and extremely regenerative for our kidneys. So let's talk about the grass, okay? So while many of our competitors use wheat grass and barley grass, we only use grass juice powders in our formula, not the pulverized grass. Because unlike cows or horses, we cannot digest the cellulose in grasses. So all the nutrition remains locked in those fibers. So only by special juicing process, I don't know if you've ever tried to juice wheatgrass, you don't get a lot out of it. It's a very, very arduous process. And so we're using the juice that is low temperature dried, which fully releases and protects the precious nutrients in the grasses. So over 30 kilos of certified organic grass juice, and we're going to talk about how much juice actually you get out of wheatgrass in a minute. So 30 kilograms of the juice is freeze-dried, concentrated down into 1 kilogram of grass juice powder. So this is extremely potent, and that's just, one aspect of Deep Green. But this is my essence, pure, potent, fresh. We use the most potent forms of the herbs and the beneficial phytonutrients that I can find on the planet. So that's what you get with my essence. So in 1 teaspoon, So this is just the juice, just the grass juice component of deep green. In 1 teaspoon of deep green, you get the equivalent of 60 mil, which is 2 fluid ounces of wheatgrass and barley grass juice. Okay, so I had a look at some competitors, and there's a competitor that just does wheatgrass juice. So the cost, I costed the equivalent of 60 mil or 2 ounces of Dr. Wheatgrass, because he uses the juice. To get 60 mil, you'd have to pay $12 using Dr. Wheatgrass. To get 60 mil, if you juiced it yourself, you would be paying $5 from, you'd be basically, because you get about 60 mil out of a whole tray of wheatgrass. Okay? So this is the value that you are getting with Miessence DeepGreen. It is incredible. And this is just one component, the juice component of the formula. So to get 60 mil for a teaspoon, you're paying about retail, less than $2.50. And if you're on auto ship, less than $2. Okay, these are Aussie prices. So you are getting an amazing bargain for your health and well-being and your longevity. So let me just talk about chlorophyll. The picture on the left is chlorophyll. Okay, the picture on the right is hemoglobin. Okay, so chlorophyll is abundant, it is that green factor. Okay, this is the component in green foods that gives it the green. The chlorophyll is the green pigment, and it is exactly, if you can see the chemical structure, you can't see it very well, possibly, but the molecular structure of chlorophyll is exactly the same as human blood hemoglobin, except for one thing. In the center of chlorophyll is magnesium, which is an alkaline mineral. And in the center of hemoglobin, human red blood, we have iron. Okay, so this is why chlorophyll is such an amazing blood cleanser. Okay, and it is abundant in all of our green foods. It is extremely cleansing and detoxifying. It detoxifies heavy metals from the body. It stimulates red blood cell production, and it is pretty much identical to hemoglobin except for the magnesium. So it is giving us alkaline minerals and cleansing our blood at the same time. Incredible stuff. I mean, how perfect is nature that our blood, the blood of humans, is the exact replica of the blood of plants except for that central molecule. Unbelievable. This is, we're meant to eat greens, guys. We are meant to eat greens. So clinical studies show on greens, on all of the cereal grasses and the leafy greens and the blue-green algae, show strengthening of the immune system, improvement in mental focus and clarity, an increase in energy, anti-tumor activity, improvement in digestive problems, improved recovery after exercise, stabilization of blood sugar levels, stabilization of blood pressure and cholesterol levels, and a reduction in symptoms from allergies. And these are all of the symptoms that we have reported from customers who have partaken in the Vitality Challenge, in the old 10-day Miessence Superfood Vitality Challenge. So this is exactly what you're getting. You're getting, and with DeepGreen, Very Radical and Enliven, all of these benefits have been proven by medical clinical studies. So just quickly, I did a competitor comparison. So Miessence on the left So were they certified organic? Of course, yes, ours is, and the competitors listed weren't. Were they, did the grasses is the grass in their formula from juice, or is it from just the pulverized grass? And only Miessence had the juice component, the grass juices. Is it totally free from fillers, like just things that aren't green? Okay, so many green formulas on the market aren't actually green. Like you look at their ingredients, and the first ingredient is apple fiber or pea fiber or, you know, rice bran or flaxseed. You know, they're great, but they're not green. They're not chlorophyll rich. Okay, with Miessence Alkalising Superfood, it's totally green. Everything is green. Everything is rich in chlorophyll and alkalizing minerals. That's all you're getting. We don't puff out our stuff with stuff that you don't actually need. Sure, they're useful, but they're not. Don't call it an alkalizing supplement if it's not totally green. Yeah, so 100% green. Is it 100% green? Most green supplements are not 100% green. So you're not really getting what you're paying for. So the lesson is, what do I want you to remember from today? Calcium supplements, waste of time, and in fact dangerous. So don't swallow pills that end up in the toilet, or worse, in your in a non-digestible, non-assimilable, toxic form in your body. Get onto real living foods for real living health and well-being. This is the Miessence premise. Certified organic foods, superfoods, potent medicinal foods sourced organically, ethically, sustainably. Ultra concentrated, like there's no fillers. All of our products are exactly what they are advertised as, nothing else. Ultra concentrated, and powders. So many of our competitors use like liquids or juices that are really a waste of money, because most juices are 90%, well, all fruit is 90% water. Okay, so if you're spending $70 on a bottle of whatever special whiz bang juice, it's mostly water. They're using the concentrate and adding water. So you might as well just use the concentrate and sell the concentrate. It's cheaper to ship around the planet. Well, that's my philosophy anyway. Use the most potent form of, and the shelf-stable form of the products. So then you don't have to use preservatives and antioxidants and toxins and thickeners and blah, blah, blah. Just use the superfood powders. So it's really easy for me to carry around when I'm traveling, because I don't want to be traveling around with bottles of juice. They're gonna leak everywhere. So yeah, that's why I love the powders. So yes, cleanse, detoxify, and nourish every cell in your body with the best nutrition you can find in the world. Now let me just see if there's something I've missed out that I wanted to tell you. Just about osteoporosis. In 1906, when Alzheimer, okay, 1906, when Alois Alzheimer published his very first paper in Germany, he said that Alzheimer's disease, because remember we talked about calcification and that excess calcium being deposited anywhere in your body depending on, you know, what your weakness is. So Alzheimer's disease was really due to hardening of the arteries in the brain. The amount of calcification in the body correlates directly with the onset of old age. So how's that? Since 1906, over 100 years ago, the geniuses, the medical geniuses of the time knew that degenerative brain disease was due to calcification. Why don't we know that these days? Why aren't we being told this? Okay.